Union, Courage and Faith in the Andes Monument. On October 13, 1972, a Uruguayan Air Force plane crashed into the Andes mountain range, carrying 45 passengers, including the crew and a rugby team from Old Christian Club with their families and friends. This event profoundly affected all of Uruguay, causing pain and sorrow in many families, but the return of 16 survivors also brought hope and joy to the country. 50 years later, this memorial was created to commemorate this historic event, emphasizing the hope that the 16 survivors brought back with them. The history of the place. In 1911, landscaper Carlos Tays made a proposal for the urbanization of Carrasco in which he suggested the curve as the main landscaping element. In this project, 9 roundabouts were planned, of which only this one remains in its original dimensions. In 2004, this space was dedicated to the survivors of the Andes and was named Free Space Union, Courage, and Faith in the Andes. Years later, in 2022, led by Mayor Mercedes Ruiz, a competition was held by municipality along with ORT University and Casadeco, are the creation of a landscaping project as a memorial to the accident. Lola Capurro, Jimena Pereira, and Mara Teresa Flores were the landscape architects who won the competition, and the space was inaugurated on December 21, 2022. Symbolism of the project. The project is a contemplative space where the synergy between landscaping and the deep emotions evoked by this event are reflected. The project is based on the 3 words that make up the name of the space: union, courage, and faith. The central element of the project is a cord and steel sculpture in the shape of a spiral. Its peculiar shape somewhat resembles a cylinder segment, representing the fuselage of the plane, the refuge of the survivors during their 72 days in the mountains. It also symbolically represents the 3 pillars that sustained them during those days. The spiral is partially buried, a reminder of those who are no longer with us. Even though it appears to be 2 separate circles, everything is connected. Just as they were, supporting one another with great teamwork and selflessness. Even when some seemed unable to help further, they continued to do so in unimaginable ways. On the other hand, steel is a resilient material, which, while somewhat flexible, rarely breaks, just like courage. This virtue is reflected in the attitude each person assumed and maintained throughout their time in the mountains, adapting to contrary conditions and others' needs without losing inner strength. For this reason, steel is also used to mark the boundaries of the flower beds from Costa Rica Street towards the promenade. The spiral creates a portal allowing a view of the water. In this too, faith is represented, as this portal shows the possibility of seeing beyond, that not all is lost and that one can always achieve more. To emphasize this last point, a luminaire is placed over the spiral, since faith is also the light that guides and the hope in darkness. The lights are positioned to illuminate the spiral from the outside and to illuminate the spiral's interior, forming 2 rings of light framing the portal. The chosen vegetation reflects, with its colors and stature, the same feelings and values that inspired the entire project: union, courage, and faith, as well as hope and life. The species used were Juniperus horizontalis blue, accompanied by Rosmarinus officinalis postratus, as a blue river that traverses the spiral and continues into the sea in the distance. On the other hand, Ficus pumila and Juniperus squamata were used, 2 species whose intense green foliage and robust stature convey life and strength. Other green foliage species are Eurypus sp. and Gerondelia orientalis, which also have yellow blooms that mimic the light and warmth of the sun, comfort and hope in the cold and difficult moments experienced in the mountains. Gerondelia orientalis is a native species, as is Senecio crassiflorus, another species used in this project. This senecio has grayish foliage that, although it may resemble the color of snow, its yellow blooms make the light shine even in the cold of the snow. Finally, the species Senecio serpens of blue color was placed in a concrete ring that represents water. The fountain is located on a rockery that simulates the mountain location of those who did not return. On the rocks is a memorial plaque with the names of all passengers. It holds immense symbolism for families and friends. It's worth mentioning that faith accompanied the survivors during their 72 days in the mountains through the praying of the Rosary. On December 8th, a day dedicated by Catholics to the Virgin Mary, the spiral was placed, thus commencing the works of this memorial.